So what type of pool is it? Like there's all sorts of suicide pools. I'm in the Broadway pool. You just pick the winners. This pool,
Sure.
and we'll put up the what you have to do every week in a second here. But what type of pool
Okay.
we got here?
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward pool. It's not a fantasy football pool or anything like it. It's just a question of the members taking a look at who's playing in the upcoming week, figuring out who's going to win and who's going to lose, and what they think the spread, the difference between the score that the winning team has and the score that the losing team has. So uh, quite simple, and the only thing I always suggest to people is that it may seem like you should be putting up a big spread on some of the games, 10 or 15 points. Sometimes that can come back to bite you, as
Oh
as
yeah.
you'll find out shortly. Yes.
Oh yeah.
So,
Well, let's take a look at what weekly
sure.
participants do. This is a spreadsheet you send out. I know you send out a couple of things, but this is what I get every week. I usually fill out the Excel spreadsheet. And so this was first week of last year, Ravens and the Chiefs. And in you fill out this one. You don't touch this one. But I said that the home team, the Chiefs, are going to lose this game by 6 points.
Yep.
In fact, they ended up winning the game, I believe. But it and then the Eagles and the Packers, I said the Eagles will win it by 3 points, and Falcons
Yep.
win it by 3 points. And then once all the games are in, what do you do when you with all this information?
Yeah, well, John, what I'll just step back a little from this because just so people don't think that they need to have an Excel,
Right.
software hooked up. I do Word as well too because I send out two score sheets, one like this and one a little simpler, which is the Word one, and you fill that out. And so if Word is you want to communicate, and there's a number of the guys that do, that's great. It comes in, and then I just copy and paste it right into that first box A, where you indicated the who's winning, who's losing type thing, and the difference. And then once the games are over, I have again another Excel format that I just enter all the wins and the spread in that, and then I just take it and copy it right into box B, and so it automatically fills in there. And then in box C, which we can't see the whole part of, but that then at the end of the weekend, I just look and it tells me exactly what your score was, and so then I populate a sheet, an Excel again, as well as a Word one, which says, okay, this is where Mike Russell ended. This is where John ended. This is where Mark Cosenzo ended in terms of their scores. And so the one person with the least number of points is the winner for that week, and so on and so forth. And in terms of payouts, I do a payout in terms of the weekly ones. So the top four are the ones that get paid out at the end of the year, but they won it for that week. And it's the top winner would get $15. Number two would get 10. Number three would get 5, and number four would get $2.
Right.
And then as well at the end of the year, then there are the top four overall over the all the games that we were played type thing in the weeks, and then I would know who were the top four winners, and the rest of the money is divided up into that. And because the price that I charge, is $50 per person to participate, which is fairly cheap, and there's probably about 40% of that goes out on a weekly basis over the year, and the other 60% goes to the overall standings. So,
Right. So I just wanted to let people know, I don't have Excel. What I do is when I get your Excel spreadsheet, I convert it to a Google Sheet spreadsheet,
yep,
fill this out, and then I convert it back to an Excel spreadsheet and send it to Mike.
sure,
That's
sure,
the way I do it because it's easy for me. I can do it on my phone. I can do it
yep,
anywhere if I forget. Now, let's take a look at this. This was a Thursday game and they had a Friday game. Now I could put this in on Wednesday just for these two games, because I want to see the injury report on Friday for the rest of the games because I don't know who's injured. They don't publish it till Friday. So you can put in your two picks here, and then the rest have to be in before the first game starts on Sunday. Correct?
Yeah, and yeah, and people have the option, and a number of people, soon as I send out the results on the Tuesday with the upcoming pick sheets for the next weekend, some people will put all their information in and fire it off, and that's great. Although they do have the option of coming back before Sunday morning and saying, Mike, I would like to change it a bit. Or you can just send me an email saying, Mike, for that Thursday game, I this is who I think is going to win, who's going to lose, and by how much. If there's another game such as a Friday or Saturday, they would do that. But the end result is that by prior to the first game on Sunday, and we always have to remember that sometimes during the year there are European games, which means that the game will probably be starting at 9 o'clock in the morning as opposed to 1 o'clock. So you need to get your full pick sheet into me by that moment. And I always remind people like there's nothing wrong with having side betters because I have three and who seem to win more off of me than I do off of them, but that's fair enough. And but that way, if you CC those people like for whatever, and then I can't find yours, then we know you submitted it. So and normally that doesn't there's emails are emails, but usually I get them. But sometimes if you send it to somebody else beforehand and you just forget to send it to me, then we know you've actually submitted it on time. So
That's great. So that's great. So now to enroll in this, you just send Mike an email. I can't put the email on this. YouTube will flag it and they'll do. But in the description, I'll put Mike's email, and in the club, you can use the club directory to get his email, or I'll post something on the hallway going to the dressing rooms, and also in the men's dressing room as well. I can't get in the women's dressing room, unfortunately, but you'll have access to that. So that's how you would get enrolled. So just and Mike, what you get an email from someone say, I'm interested. What do you send them back?
yeah, no, and actually, I sent you my frequently asked questions for new members, updated for this year, so you can put that up for them as well too, I guess, or however you wish to do it. But anyways, yeah, it's the $50. Two options. You can either e-transfer me, and I already have sort of a setup, so you don't need to put in a security code or security question and answer. Secondly, the other option is if you don't do that kind of stuff, then you can send me a letter with a check, and that will all work as well. Long as I have the funds by the prior to the first game of the year, then you're registered in. And normally when we get to the end and it's getting close to seeing who's doing it, the last week, especially last 2 weeks, but especially the last week, I usually give updates sort of as the game sort of like 4 o'clock. I'll send out something to everybody saying, okay, here's how people have done so far, and just to keep them going along. And afterwards, we do a playoff pool, which is more of a suicide thing in the sense that obviously teams are going out. So, but again, you're picking who's going to win, who's going to lose, and there's money to be made on that as well. So yeah, and we only charge $10 for the football for the playoff pool.
Well, that's great. And Mike, I want to thank you very much for doing that. I hope we get some more people. We got a lot of people at Carlton already in this pool, and it'd be a lot of fun. I know in our foursome on Wednesday, we're all in the pool, and we're all talking about who'd you pick this week, who'd you pick that, and you're crazy, and of course I'm a Dolphin fan, and it's easy for me. I follow that team very closely, so I know when they're going to tank, and so I usually have a pretty good pulse on that team. But the other
Yep, yep,
teams, I have no idea. Sometimes, like you said, you pick a big spread, thinking, "Oh,
yep,
Miami's playing Buffalo. Buffalo's going to wipe them. It's going to be a 28 point.
yep.
You can't get yourself to put 28 points, but maybe you put 21, and they do it, and wow, you've
Yeah.
best of the field. And sometimes Miami surprises you and they only lose by three. They still lose, but they
Yeah,
only lose
yeah.
by three. So, so you really get creamed.
Absolutely, and that's part of the fun because like sometimes you're thinking, everybody thinks, okay, this is the winner and this is a loser, and somehow magically it storms, whatever it may
Oh,
be, that
yeah.
the wrong team wins. And but I always, the way I look at it, and I tell people is, okay, so everybody get burned on this one.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Some weeks you just the upsets are just incredible. And not just by, they'll win not just by 7 points, they'll win by 28 points. And you're going, that team was favored to lose by 10 and then they win by 28. So yeah, there's a
yeah.
differential.
And the one thing, just to finish up there, John, but the one thing I've found over the years as well too is that when you look at the average set of scores that people are getting on a weekend, sometimes it can be up over 200 because just the games have gone sideways. And but other times, the scoring will be
Oh,
between 50 and 75. Everybody's sort of on their game, and the games are going the way it should. So that's what makes it fun. So
yeah, it is. Anyway, Mike, I want to thank you for joining me again this morning.
no problem.
I think this worked out better because they could see the sheet and everything. And
Yeah,
hey,
and I love the background.
anyway, everybody, thank you very much, Mike, and
Okay,
look forward to a whole bunch of people joining this year.
sure, absolutely. Thanks.
Bye bye now.
Bye bye.